Okay, man. So we're going. Have you been able to talk to any interesting people on Omegle tonight?
Yeah, so far. There's cool people, certainly. There's definitely think people that you should not be meeting on this app though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are just like really lonely, or I don't know, I don't know. I tend to try to have a brighter view of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But so, so what do you? So tell us a little about yourself. Like, what are some of the things that you like to do?
Oh well, I play football, wrestle, high school.
How is that going with COVID?
Well, we don't do much stuff due to COVID right now, but starting in January 4th, we should get a season started up for wrestling, so that'll be fun when that starts.
Oh, dude, that'll be great. Have you been missing that a lot?
Yeah, that's the my main sport I play right there. So,
Cool. So are you like in high school, right? So like, are you like an upperclassman?
oh yeah. Oh, and actually, I'm a lower classman,
Okay.
only eighth grade.
Is that like something like? Is that something that like wrestling and football? Is that stuff that you're doing for fun or towards like a scholarship or both?
Um, Wrestling's been a passion of mine since I was young. I started old, started out as fun, and then as my career progressed, I got thinking more in the going to college for it and being a college wrestler. Some point in my life.
Dude, that's great. So like, how is it going? Like, do you have some cool stories about it?
My first year of varsity wrestling, we have our sectionals, which is like our counties that live near us, and then we have the area, like a bigger, larger group of people, and then we have the state. And I took third in our supers, which is like the people in the area around us. I lost to my teammate in the semifinals of that, which was not that fun.
So like, did you go on to states ever yet? I guess you still have a few years to go.
Yeah, you have to get like there's like a point system. So if you're a senior after wrestling for say 5 years, you have more points. And say you take second, then you have a higher chance of going to the states. But as me as first year wrestler in varsity, I didn't have any points and I lost in semis. So I took third and ended up not going. The two people ahead of me did.
Oh, that's so annoying. So close. Well, what about?
At that tournament, I lost.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go for it.
Oh, thank you. In the semifinals of that match, I had a kid that was a senior. So like I wrestle kids that are a lot older than me sometimes. And this was the oldest kid I've wrestled before because he got held back a year previously. So he was like 20 years old, and at this time I was like 13.
Was it close, or did he just like topple you?
The weight class was 113, and it was a close match. I'd say it was 7-4, so 3 point difference.
So it wasn't a sweep, I guess you could say, right?
No,
That's awesome, man. That's cool. So yeah. So how are you like in high school? Is it a good experience? Does it suck?
I think it's definitely a good experience in my opinion.
Why? What makes it good
Um,
for you?
um, Especially being a younger classman, you get to look up to them, the older, the older people in your school, like coming up from the elementary school. as a young guy and going on the wrestling team. I have people to look up to, um, older guys, more experienced guys on the team, and just in school in general.
Mm-hmm. And now with like COVID taking over, is your school still remote?
Actually, no, we were in school every day of the week, but Friday.
Wow. Do you what do you think of that setup? Are you do you think you guys should be remote, or should do you think you should be in person, and which do you like more?
Um, and my preference, I like in school. I'm that type of kid that cannot learn through a laptop, computer, phone, etc. I have to be in person and in contact with that person to learn to the best of my ability.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are that way. I mean, the screens are just so distracting. You could easily like go onto any like website and just like waste your time away. That's what I would do if I were in your position. I'd just be like on addictinggames.com or something like that, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I think it's better to be in school.
Yeah. Um. Okay. So what do you think like if you had, I don't know, like a dream job, what would it be?
Um, that's a tough one. Like, yeah, I see in my future, I'd want to be in the military. I'd serve my country first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd go to college after that. What I go to college for, I don't know yet. I know I'd go to college and wrestle in college, but I don't know what my career would be
I think
at the
I
moment, at
think
least.
you know what? I think like our society, our culture like has this skewed, messed up idea that you need to know what you're going to do when you're 18 years old. I mean, you haven't even been like away from your parents yet. Like how the heck are you supposed to know yourself and what you want to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
and my brother's going through that right now. Like my brother just went in the military. He's been in the military for 8 months now, and he's focused on that right now. So
Is
as
is
long term,
mhm. Is he having a good time? Is a positive experience?
yeah, I'd say it's a positive experience for him. And he likes it. He says it's
Mm.
fun.
Are your parents pretty supportive of that choice, or are your parents? Do you think your parents are supportive of either that choice or anything else that you'd want to do?
Oh, I think yeah, my parents are like always supportive of what I do,
That's
as long as they're good decisions.
great. As long
Yeah,
as you're not like killing people. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's I talk to a lot of people on here, and it's a real split. Like some people have very supportive parents. Um, Others like don't have any parents in the picture, or like you know don't have that supportive system in their life, and that just like influences so much. Um, and then it's hard for me to tell like those. I don't know. Like, do you think that a lot of your choices are being pushed by your parents, or do you think that you're making your own choices? It's always so hard to figure out, I think.
I mean, yeah, it is hard to figure out, but I think I make most of my decisions. But my parents are supportive on them, unless like I make a dumb decision, then they'll tell me what they think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, how to kind of approach that better the next time. Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts of like other things that, we haven't talked about that you think are important? Like what are some other things you think are important?
Um, That's a good question. Um,
That's a big question. It's a big question,
yeah.
and I don't know. I don't know. You don't have to. It's something to mull over. Do you have any questions for me or anything? My name is Kenny, by the way. You don't know my name even. Just this random dude on Omegle. Um,
Oh yeah. Uh,
and yeah. So if you have any questions for me too, you're welcome to ask. I don't know.
all right. What are your goals of coming on? Do you go on multiple websites to ask people questions?
It's a great question. That's the first time I've ever gotten that question. I in the beginning, so I've been doing this for now 5 months. I do a little every day, and I used to go on chat roulette too, but they got rid of their like chat function. Um, so uh, and then some people like who I've talked to, they come back and they say, "Hey, can like we talk again?" And we go on Zoom and we talk for like another session or whatever, just like another hangout sesh. And uh, yeah, so that's kind of my, but mainly Omegle. Omegle is just so easy, you know. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
I really like it. There's some really interesting people. I've talked to like people from like 35
yeah. There are.
countries and stuff, you know.
Um, are you doing these for like social experiments or like?
I'm interested in. There are a lot of reasons I'm doing it. I think that like I just think the world has taken a turn in the last few years into a very dark place. Um, and I think there's a way to combat it. And I think it's just by listening to people. Um, and so I'm like here to listen, really. Like I'm here to like learn about people. And then to record it so that I could share my findings with other people, um, so that other people's stories can be shared. Like you have a story. There have been important things that have happened to you in your life. Um, and maybe if another person from who knows where sees your story and listens to you, it will change their mind about something or it'll make them see something in a different way, and that will help them to get through whatever moment they're in their life. That's one of the reasons I'm compiling these stories, and also for me to just become a better listener. Sometimes I go back through my videos and see how I can listen better, or I don't know, you know does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
I love it. I really love it. And it's interesting. There's some people who are kind of guarded. Other people are like pour their hearts out. It's yeah, it's interesting. Usually, it's the people who have unsupportive networks that really pour their hearts out, and people who already have their support system kind of tend to be, you know, um, a little guarded, which
I
is
think
fine.
that's pretty. I like what you're doing actually. Like, I think you're a very good person for what you're doing, trying to help other people with their problems and situations they're going through in life. And if they ever need someone to talk to, they just got to go on Omegle and they can find you.
Yeah, yeah. I have an email on there too for people who are watching. I mean, it's all over my YouTube. Email me, and if you want to talk, you don't. I'm not a trained therapist. I'm actually a professional actor. Um, but we train in listening. We're professional listeners. So, or at least we're supposed to be. But I guess I have another question for you. Well, two questions, I guess. One is for these videos, I usually use like a name. You could use like a code name or your first name, and then also a state. So, like, what name and state should I put for this video?
My name's Colton,
Colton.
Colton,
Hmm.
and I'm from New York.
Nice. I used to live in New York.
Oh, where do you live now?
I'm in Florida now, in the complete different place. Completely different. Um, yeah, I miss New York in some ways. I used to be like right in the city. Are you like upstate or are you in the city?
Yeah, I'm upstate New York.
Nice. So do you have snow there now?
A little bit, not much,
Not yet. Not yet, right?
not yet.
um, but yeah, I guess I'll ask you another question. So like, what moment or story of yours do you think defines who you are today and why?
Um, hmm,
Big question. Another big question.
that is a big question. That is a big question. But uh, the story that would have to define my life.
Or who you are, not your life, but just who you are right now. It's usually is the first story that comes to mind.
Um, Probably like stories about my sports careers. Um, I personally think I'm an athlete type kid, straight A student, athlete. So if anything were to come to my mind, it'd be about um, I got a good grade or something on a quiz in school, or I did good at a tournament or a game.
Mm, that's great. So focusing on it's like what I'm hearing is like you're very focused on self betterment, um, improving like little by little with your skills and like whatever is given to you that you just excel at it, or
Yes, exactly.
you work to perfect it. Well, that's great, man. That's awesome. That kind of focus is really important, and that dedication too. You know, that's awesome. Um, usually I ask, oh, where is this stupid sheet here? Usually I ask kind of like some kind of deeper questions. If I can find the thing, which I cannot right now, of course. Oh, here it is. Um, so if you could choose two numbers between 1 and 48, I'll give you the corresponding question on here. Um,
Two numbers.
yeah, just two numbers. Give me two numbers and I'll ask you questions.
22 as the
Okay.
first one,
22 and
and seven.
7.
7.
All right, 22. What is something you really want to do?
Um, I already said this earlier in the video. I want to be a college athlete, and I want to show people if you try hard enough and you try your best and you push your limits, you can accomplish anything.
Hmm. Yeah, I want to add on to that too. That to push your limits, like, there's a lot that goes into that. Pushing limits, I think, also means confronting your fears, looking at the things that scare you, taking the bull by the horn, and meeting it and taking it down. Meaning that you accept that you feel a certain way and you accept it and then you use it. It's kind of like you turn it. Does that resonate?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah.
What do you think is the most recent fear that you've confronted in yourself?
Um, one of my biggest fears, I'd have to say, is failure. Cause like
Mm,
I fail sometimes. Well, actually, yeah, I'm human, so I fail all the time. And when I fail, I try my hardest to improve what I did wrong and get better at that until I escape failure.
mm, mm. Yeah. Now that's vulnerable, you know? That's strength. Strength is vulnerability. And I think you just knocked that around a little bit. Very cool, dude.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, totally. All right. Last question. Then you don't have to talk to me anymore. What does it take to be a good listener?
To be a good listener, um, you have to see the other person's point of view. Like you can't say you first of all you have to listen to them. You can't hear them. You have to truly listen to that person.
Could
And once you pass that step, you gotta
so what's the difference? Could you make that could you like specify that distinction? It's very important. I think you're right.
um, if you hear someone they're just talking like you don't acknowledge what they're saying at the moment, or you could be listening but you don't care what they have to say. But if you're listening, you're acknowledging everything that the person is saying. Start see their side of the story, like you understand what they're talking about and what they're feeling, or
Yeah.
you really understand what they're saying if you listen.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head. Like hearing and the difference between hearing and listening is that you care. Um, is that you care. Like how can we become I think for like I'm just going to go further down this line because I think I agree with you and I think you're getting at something really important is how do we care more about people? Like how do we actually become curious about people more instead of just like faking it or lying that we do, you know? I don't know. Do you
Um,
any thoughts on that?
um, Part of society has an effect on that, in my opinion. The way society has became, it's harder to understand people and um,
Mm.
what they feel and other stuff.
Is that like
Society, in my belief, has separated people.
mm. Do you think that's social media? Is that what you is that where your mind first goes or what like how do you think?
Oh yeah, probably social media, because like some people on social media feel like they could say something and don't have consequences about it. Like they could, an example, couple examples. Um, I know multiple people who have been body shamed by random people on the internet. Um, the way they look or speak, or their beliefs, culture.
Mm,
Those are some examples of people being hated for what they do.
mm, mm. Yeah, this kind of anonymous, not even anonymous, but just like uncaring shaming or criticism. Like, yeah, yeah. My belief of that is like the reason that people are doing that in the first place is because they are shameful of something themselves. You know that it's very that they're mad at themselves or that they beat themselves up. And that the only way, like they talk to themselves that way, and if they talk to themselves that way, then they also do that same thing to other people. And yeah, so we have to. I think we have to help people care about themselves more. You know, maybe if people start caring about themselves and loving themselves more, they won't be assholes to other people. You know, I'm
Yeah,
I'm thinking out loud with you. You know, you're really smart, man. Very articulate, and I appreciate your
thank you.
time and your thought. So before we get going, do you have any last kind of thoughts that you'd like to leave with people? Some advice or something?
Um, no matter what you're going through, just if people are hating on you and being mean to you, just keep your head up and stay strong. Just know whatever you're going through, you can get through, and no matter what people got to say to you, it doesn't matter because they're just mad you can accomplish something that they can't, and that's why they run you down and beat you up for it.
Mm, mm. Snaps to you, dude. So that's what a perfect note to end on. What I'm gonna be doing is uploading this video in 15 minutes. It'll be up. So if you subscribe to the channel, you'll see your video pop up, and you can check it out. Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, man. Hey, thanks so much, dude. You take care. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
You too.
Good night.
Good night.
Cool. Thanks, Colton.